Now for our candidates in this week's test: the Mercedes-Benz E-Class, the Volvo XC70, and the BMW X5. Test driver Matis Kurat says the cars look very different. An elegant station wagon, an off-road station wagon with a robust exterior, and a fully fledged SUV. But all three have something in common: permanent all-wheel drive. Kurat explains that this provides a lot more safety in sub-zero weather. Let's look at the facts. The E-Class T model is powered by a 6-cylinder diesel engine with 195 kilowatts of power and a 3-liter 350 CDI engine. A 7-gear automatic is standard. The all-wheel drive is electronically regulated. The individual tires are controlled using ESP sensors. Matis Kurat says the E-Class is comfortable, the seating is pleasant, and the suspension is excellent. But the steering is a bit light for his liking and doesn't give you the feeling that you are in touch with the road. And what about the design of the interior? Matis likes the leather-upholstered dashboard and the look of the switches and buttons. The only thing he doesn't like is the cigarette lighter. Matis says it looks like it cost 20 cents in a supply shop and doesn't belong in a car of this standard. Now, the Volvo. It comes with 4 different engines. We're testing the 2.4-liter diesel, which is available in automatic and manual gearbox variants. In normal conditions, the instant traction all-wheel drive supplies 95% of torque to the front axle. As conditions require, up to 65% of torque is shifted to the rear axle. The interior of the Volvo, just like all Volvos, is cool, clear, and functional, says Matis. He likes the aluminum, but says it is a pity that the material in the middle does not leave a good impression. Matis likes the feel of the steering wheel, and the dash also has a good feel. The handling is good, and the engine is surprisingly powerful. Matis Kurat tells us the Volvo only has 151 kilowatts of power and is the weakest in today's test, but it has a manual gearbox and is not an automatic like the others. This helps to offset the weaker engine. The BMW has almost 30 kilowatts more power, a 6-cylinder 180 kilowatt diesel. The all-wheel drive X-Drive has an electronically controlled multiple disc clutch, giving it perfect traction at all times. It comes as an 8-gear automatic. The X5 is the most sporty of all the cars, says Matis Kurat, despite being the biggest and heaviest. He says that's because of the great steering and the fuel injection. The BMW leaves a solid impression. Matis says the interior is typical BMW. The dashboard looks good, but he's disappointed by the glove compartment and feels it is much too small for a car of this size. As things stand, all 3 cars are neck and neck, but the BMW and Volvo have greater ground clearance, which means they can drive in areas the Mercedes can't reach. On snow and ice, the all-wheel drive kicks in, and although all 3 have different systems, they are all effective. A typical tricky situation in winter is starting on a hill. So Matis Kurat wants to put all 3 to the test. The Mercedes passes with flying colors, he says. So let's try the XC70 at the same spot. The Volvo also gets off without any problems, but you have to be careful with the clutch. The BMW X5 should also have no problems, but the wider tires worsen the traction somewhat, and the wheels spin slightly. Now for a look at a front-wheel drive car we brought along. It doesn't make it anywhere near where the others were tested. So all 3 passed the winter test with no problems in the snow.
All the
cars we tested have large trunks, and all can be opened electronically. Mata says he has to use a lever to open the trunk of the BMW, but he can live with that. The other two, the Volvo and the Mercedes, open at the touch of a button with the remote. Mata says that the size of the trunk is not always the most important. The trunk height also plays a role. Our assistants, Sophie and Paul, show us why. In the E-Class, our tester, Paul the dog, has no problem getting in and doesn't even want to get out. But he has to. We call him to the next car. Paul also has no problem getting into the Volvo. The height of the trunk is 68 centimeters and is no problem for Paul. The Volvo also has a protective grid, which Matas likes because it protects the dog while driving. But the BMW presents Paul with a problem. Mata says the BMW has a trunk height of 81 centimeters and is too high for dogs. You have to be either very strong and lift the dog in, or buy an extra foot bench, or choose another car, of course. So, who wins our test? The Volvo XC70, the Mercedes-Benz E-Class, or the BMW X5? All three are fantastic cars, says Matas. The problem he has with the BMW is the height of the trunk. It's not just a problem with dogs. He says that shopping bags also have to be lifted too high, and that is hard work. The Volvo is well thought out, says Matas. He likes the protective grid, but the car costs around 70,000 euros with all the extras. With the same money, you can get a Mercedes E-Class. That is a car with higher quality finishing and also is sure to maintain its value for longer.